LA Noire is the best game that I've never played. Hi, I'm Cole right now, doing a video on youtube.com, which is something that I wanted to do since high school, but I never did. Don't tell my mom that my shirt isn't ironed. I'm kind of doing a Tucker Carlson impression. So what is there to say about LA Noire? And why do I say it's the best game that I've never played? Because I haven't, I didn't play it, but I watched it a lot. And I would watch it so much that it would scare me. I'd get really, really scared watching because what makes LA Noire so great is the ambiance. What they did like this whole digital scan or something. It was like they have a one-of-one look at what Los Angeles actually looked like, and for that, I mean, you can't front, man. Like, it looks sick. And there also was the whole thing with like the really state-of-the-art, you know, facial recognition, whatever the thing they were doing, where it was to help make it more immersive. You know, since you're a detective, you're learning their true intentions, but in reality, it just ends up being a lot of using subtle facial cues. If you don't know the story of LA Noire, you play an ex-war hero named Cole Phelps, who joins the LAPD after being honorably discharged, I think. Throughout his time, he's on a bunch of different desks. He deals with serial killers, that's a cool sequence. And then he uncovers this really big fraud ring, which is even more interesting because there was a cut sequence from the game called, you know, it was a fraud desk, fraud and burglary, which never ended up coming out. I think they cut it from the game last minute or something. So if you were to watch LA Noire like a movie, which is what I've done this whole time because it was too scary, then it's actually not that bad. However, LA Noire kind of has a manic reputation if you watch it in that context, because then you see the flaws and the strengths of it really, really intensely. Like, there'll be scenes where the acting is phenomenal and then it just crashes and is some of the worst acting you've ever seen. And I think that's with purpose because they needed to make it somewhat obvious that, you know, you were to ask them the right way, you know? There's also several different schemes for controls that changed. It used to be, you know, like you'd coerce them, and then in the final game you decided, are they lying? Do you doubt that they're telling the truth, or are they telling the truth? And then they changed it to, you know, good cop, bad cop, and accuse. And I think that's a little closer to the 8 ball, because if they didn't do anything, they're just gonna be like, and then yep, that's good cop. The other two, it's pretty ambiguous, which is why I usually need to follow a guide in order to play LA Noire successfully. If someone has something that they could be accused for, then they'll go, how are you gonna prove it, Buster? And then you prove it because you found the evidence. The little scares me, but if you gotta pay attention to that, because that means that there's still stuff to find. It's funny because when you watch LA Noire like a movie, you also see how the structure of every level is set up. Much like a Grand Theft Auto level, where it's like, you get some exposition, then you have to drive somewhere, you shoot a bunch of people, you drive somewhere. It's basically the same, but then there's a little bit of detective work. I think ultimately though, despite some of the goofier aspects of LA Noire,
fuck young boys, Valdez.
I think it really lived up expectationally to a really monolithic year in video games that we're basically still playing now. You know, they're still re-releasing Skyrim, obviously. And it really stood on its own as a pretty strong pick, you know, a really, really big year of games, you know? I think the story they tell is really interesting.
I like your ass. You're lying, Morgan.
I think the way that, you know, things end up being revealed is really cool. And ultimately, it's a really classic noir story talking about corruption and all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's pretty graphic, too. That's why when you watch it all at once, it kind of feels more like an HBO show than, you know, like something that you'd watch on Hulu or whatever. Overall, I think there's high highs to LA Noire, there's low lows. I think it works out to be that it's unique enough that the lows don't really matter as much, even though some of the delivery is goofy. So yeah, if you don't have an Xbox 360 or you don't want to pay for it on Steam or something, try watching it like a movie. Although there's some scenes where you're gonna cringe because the dialogue is bad, there's gonna be a lot of it that you're like, well, this is pretty good. So hopefully that enticed you. If you like this style of video, drop me a like, because we can do long form stuff too. You know, there was a TikTok long form thing. I didn't go to it, I signed up for it, I didn't go. But I want to post on here more, so you let me know, okay? All right, thanks for watching, and go check it out. I'll link a playthrough in the description below. All right, have a great day.